No one panic, Rise of Skywalker's doing great in the box office. But could be doing a hell of a lot better. Let's take a look. Okay, here we see it. Box office Rise of Skywalker falls 59% to join the 100 million losers club. And, you know, Scott kind of defends the Rise of Skywalker, the Disney trilogy, stuff like that, so he don't mean it's a loser. I mean it's a big loser artistically, story-wise, tradition-wise, respect-wise, but it's doing okay-ish in the box office. Walt Disney and Lucasfilm Star Wars Rise of Skywalker has earned a still potent $361 million domestic and $724.8 million worldwide cum in just under 2 weeks of global theatrical release. That's a tough word, and it's easy to make a mistake on that word, meaning something else. So here, like usual, Mr. Kevin, the media shill, by the way, crunches some numbers. He goes on to say that it's minus 59.4% from its 177.3 million opening. But he goes on to say, giving it still a strong 361.8 million 10-day total. Just behind The Last Jedi, which was at 368 million. He then goes on to remind us that Endgame also dropped 210 million between weekends. So looks like it's just basically a normal pattern. Alright, let's read some of his content here, without the numbers. The question is whether Star Wars Rise of Skywalker just fell like a normal blockbuster, even within the Christmas holiday frame, because it opened with 177 million. The biggest non-Star Wars December opening is The Hobbit with 84 million. Because the audiences caught up with it or saw it again in the first 4 weekends, including Christmas on Wednesday, or whether the movie isn't playing all that hot. The good news is that it still has one more week of holiday play before everyone goes back to school and/or work and 2020 begins in earnest. How it fares this weekend will determine how close it gets to the 620 million domestic total of The Last Jedi. The Force Awakens earned 143 million in its first Monday through Thursday frame and then fell just 21.7% for 112 million over its next Monday to Thursday frame before the end of the holiday season. That's the best case scenario performance here, but it would give The Rise of Skywalker, which earned 112 million in its first Monday to Thursday frame, 87.7 million between tomorrow and Thursday, and give it a 450 million 14-day cum as it enters its third week. That would be a bit behind the 464 million 14-day total of The Last Jedi, barring a leggy miracle. And to be fair, there's a lot less competition versus 2 years ago. Rise of Skywalker will have to settle for a 525 to 600 million domestic cum. Alright, so I've gone over some numbers, which I'm not great at, but these weren't too difficult. And this here is really the heart of the article and what's going on to me. Sure, that's below The Last Jedi and not in sync with the usual Star Wars trilogy patterns, 1, 3, 2, but it's still going to make more than anything else this year, save for Avengers Endgame. Well, Avengers Endgame's still going to make more. I personally think Star Wars should be ahead of Avengers Endgame. Star Wars has been around for 40 years. Avengers Endgame and the Marvel movies just kind of started building steam within the last decade. If we're talking a pattern akin to the Hobbit prequels, 303 million domestic in 2012, 258 million in 2013, and 256 million in 2014, that's not exactly a tragedy. And yeah, credit goes to a light schedule, as Sony's Jumanji: The Next Level did a solid chunk of its damage before The Rise of Skywalker opened, and Universal's Cats is no greatest showman. Wonder Woman 1984, Sonic the Hedgehog, and No Time to Die moving from November to early 2020 didn't hurt either. So yeah, there were things actually helping The Rise of Skywalker along, making the money, because there's really nothing to see aside from that, and Cats apparently is atrocious. So Scott then goes on to say, I'm not going to read this whole paragraph, that we're not talking about a catastrophe here. So he'll go into how it's a little bit disappointing in comparison to some other blockbusters and things like that. But the point is, this is Star Wars. This is supposed to be like the cultural phenomenon, smash hit of the goddamn decade. And now we get kind of like a little It's doing pretty good, guys. It's gonna break 1 billion. You know, what's the big deal? Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars, not bad, not bad. You know, the whole thing should be in awe. Like, holy shit, the first $3 billion movie ever, because the whole fan base is there, supporting it, bringing their kids 5 times, celebrating this incredible ending where we have, I don't know, let's say a better storyline and an actual villain who rises up. Imagine we had Luke Skywalker alive, helping Harrison Ford, helping with Luke Skywalker and Lando, and I mean, unfortunately, whatever they would have had to do with Leia, you know, God bless Carrie Fisher, but just saying, we could have had, like, you know, this fantastic, explosive ending. Instead, we get Rey and Kylo and some Reylo controversy about Ben, and, you know, we got the Reylo side of the fandom, like, oh, it happened. How did it happen? You know, were they actually lovers all along? Why did they kiss? Why did Ben die and go to the Force? Who cares? It's not important considering what it could have been. It could have been this phenomenon again to show the next generation, look what your parents loved, even grandparents in some case at this point, and now look what you got. And now what you got is Twilight. You got Kyle and Kyle. Yeah, whatever. You got Kyle and Rey, Kylo and Rey, whatever, kissing at the end. Almost for no reason, by the way. It wasn't like it was like totally set up. Yeah, they had a little moment, they had a little emotional bond, but, you know, nah, the kiss came out of nowhere. So that's just for me. And I personally think they threw in the kiss to pander towards the audience who wanted to see it on the internet making so much noise for the last 2 years, maybe longer. Getting back to the box office. Okay, so if it breaks 1 billion, what does that even say? It, like I said, it should be past Endgame. And Jumanji actually taken away from Star Wars Episode 9? I wouldn't have imagined that if you told me, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago, hey, Episode 9 is going to come out, and then some movie about a magical box that releases animals is going to really give that thing a hard time at the box office because people are going to be seeing that instead. I'd be like, yo, are you fucking crazy? Jumanji, whatever I don't even know what it, I can't even say it right. It's like way off my radar. Anyway, let's do some shout-outs. Big shout out to Orville Nation. Gotta thank him for stopping by my live the other day. Check him out. He's over 1,000 subs. I'm of course subscribed. Cool guy. I also want to give Joe Lau a big shout out. Apologize for saying your name wrong. Very cool guy. Thank you for supporting my live. That's it. If you're new here, click that subscribe button. Smash it, press it, whatever you gotta do to get subscribed. I'm doing shout outs, special thanks. I try to say the end really fast because I'm not sure how many people are still watching at the end. I mess up the end. No one complains. We're good. See you next time.